What's up, world? It's your boy, Mike Muse. Welcome to the Conversation, the Mike Muse Show. I'm super excited to be in conversation with my next guest. I mean, we are outside nowadays, and so the Mike Muse Show has some return guests who you guys got the chance to meet, I got the chance to meet through this show during COVID, and I'm so happy to have her finally on the Mike Muse Show. I've enjoyed her journey for so long. I love everything that she is doing, and she is also, too, with guests. Ladies and gentlemen, the incredible, dynamic, the talented, the gifted, and the beautiful Naturi Naughton. What is happening?
Oh, hi. Thank you. Yes, a lot's happening.
Congratulations.
I got a little one baking in the oven. So I am bringing a special guest.
Yes. Your co-star.
Today. My co-star.
Co-star for the day.
Yes.
Congratulations. The People magazine exclusive
you.
Was absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
You and your husband look fantastic.
Thank you. We just got married not too long ago, so I'm Naturi Naughton Lewis now.
Oh,
Mrs. Lewis.
Mrs. Lewis.
If you're nasty.
Hey, okay. Let's go. I stand corrected.
No, yeah. So it was amazing.
You are having a ball in life right now. I've been watching your journey.
Thank you.
I mean, doing the Cuff It Challenge on Instagram.
Wow. Yes, for blood pressure, American Heart Association. That was a great experience just to be able to be asked to bring awareness to something that affects a lot of people, particularly in communities of color.
Yeah.
And, just getting out there and being active. So the Cuff It Challenge was fun. Power has been great. I just,
But wait, also too, I saw you on New Year's Eve with Dave Chappelle. I mean,
did you? Yes.
Now, I'm paying attention to you.
Oh my gosh, yes. I had to dip to Columbus.
Yeah.
I love Dave Chappelle.
He's so dope.
So dope and so smart.
Yeah.
So we had a great time, my husband and I and friends. We did a whole couples trip.
Yeah.
That was really fun. I've honestly been enjoying real life.
It seems like you love family and friends. You seem
do.
like a very, the fun one of the group, the fun one of the family.
Yeah, I'm the loud, fun person, especially at a game night or going out. You will always catch me dancing.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's like, turn it up, having a good time. I do. It's funny that you say that. I was just talking in another interview about how important family is to me. And I just feel like, as an actress, so many people get caught up in the business. And I've always said to myself, I've been in the entertainment business since I was 15. I've been a singer, an actress. I've been on Broadway. I've done a lot of things, but nothing compares to being a mother, being a wife, being a daughter, being a friend.
Yeah. How is it sharing this journey? Because during COVID, I recognize that I've achieved a lot of milestones that I wanted to accomplish. Still so many more to achieve. And I've always been very selfish with myself in terms of career always came first. And during the COVID, it finally made me realize, I think I might want to start sharing my life with someone and starting my family and having a junior or my own or a daughter.
That's interesting.
So how has this been for you in terms of, were you finally ready to share this journey with someone? Have you been selfish with your career?
No, I was very ready to share my life, my journey. I think when I was in my 20s, I'm in my 30s now. So in my 20s, I was definitely more selfish. Yeah. I was like, it's all about me. I mean, you cool, but meet me wherever you can find me.
And good luck with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I stayed, I just was a mover and a shaker.
Yeah.
And a heartbreaker.
Hey.
But yeah, I think once I started in my 30s and even doing Power helped, me grow up a lot and being, having my first daughter and then meeting my husband. I think I realized during COVID, like you said, I really just know how fragile life is and seeing and losing so many people and watching the world in crisis, the entire world. It just makes you really appreciate the people that you love and just don't take any day for granted because the next day, they could not be here. So
I love how you said you grew up on Power. Can we lean into that a little bit? 'Cause I'm curious about that, right? Because you've had such an incredible career.
I mean,
and
I
think when you start within 14, and we all have different moments that reflection where we realize that we're changing the next iteration of ourselves. What was it about the Power experience that you can say, I'm growing to a new iteration of myself?
Oh, that's such a great question. I'm like, wow. Because it's true. I did grow up in a way because I started when I was 29. Oh gosh, so long ago. And I think when I did Power, because I wasn't a mother, I got pregnant. I had my daughter season 4. And then working with Omari Hardwick as Ghost, I mean, honestly, he really pushes me as an actor, but also as a human. So I grew a lot from that. And Courtney Kemp, our show, and the people that I worked with were good quality people. So the show didn't necessarily make me grow up. It was the people on the show or connected to the show that really helped me see the world in so many different ways. So I would say Power, also the storylines and leaning into like, you know, Power, betrayal, my son Tariq acting up. I mean, so many things. I was like, oh, if I was a mother. And then I became a mother. And then I realized, oh, you know, it's a lot of things you say you won't do until you realize, okay, what's at stake? My children, my family, my life. So I think the show had, I guess, helped me to not be so judgy.
Yeah. Ooh.
And to be more empathetic. I'll say that, because even in a criminal's lifestyle, I realized that we have to have empathy because they're still just regular people.
And sometimes I think what Power alluded to, and a lot of other, I think, content creators, as they're making these type of storylines, are humanizing what we call criminality, right?
Yeah.
And we're seeing sometimes
and
why individuals do the things that they do.
Exactly,
right?
Because these are people that, yes, they're criminals, but they fight for their families, or they love their children, or they'll die for their, you know, spouse or their best friend, or whatever that sacrifice is.
Yeah.
When you see sacrifice, it takes away all the other stuff. You start to just see, like, and also the vulnerability and the pain. That's what I think the show did a great job showing, how these powerful characters are still vulnerable. And when you get into it, you're like, oh, there's a human aspect to even the monster, you know, the people that you might look at as like the monster of the show or the villain. So I thought that was really
You get
special.
to know their why. Like, you know,
Yes.
I have a life of range, and I'm not shy to talk about my life of range.
Yeah.
And I had an individual who was very reflective, let's
Really?
say, of characters within Power. And I had the chance
Like,
to ask him.
Yeah. I mean, let's get into it.
Yeah, he's no longer with us.
I'm
He
sorry.
became a victim to his career,
I'm
but
so
was
sorry.
very much similar to Ghost.
Oh, wow.
And so was in that space. And it was really interesting how I got the chance to connect with him. And eventually one time I'd ask him, you know, why do you do this? Because when we would have conversations, he was very scholarly.
Yeah,
he was
they're
very well
intelligent.
read. Collected amazing and incredible art that we would talk about very often.
Okay.
And then finally we got to the place, I was just like, with all that being said, why? And he was
Yeah.
saying
That's
he
deep.
did it in order to create a life for his family. And so it came out of necessity. But then as a necessity, he got trapped in it.
Yes.
And then couldn't
escape.
and
That's
it became
hard.
beholden to it, right?
Ooh.
Then often, and then became
That's-
victim to it.
Yeah.
But I saw the human
good.
element of him and the protection element of him. And his capacity to love life to the fullest.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes we forget that these are humans.
Amen.
Right?
Wow.
And even when they get into the criminal justice system,
Oh yeah.
they get treated as less than humane. But
And that's so frustrating, because even people that are in prison right now, people that are locked up, we always, you know, we're so quick to judge, and that could be your brother. My cousin just got out of prison for a very long time, and he's just a regular young man hoping and hopeful to start his life again and correct some of those mistakes. So sometimes we have to look at the human first, and I wish that our system was a little bit more humane in that way. And I think the way we treat, I mean, everything that's going on, even Rikers Island, there's so many things that we just turn a blind eye to. And if we just wake up and think about, like, okay, well, what if that was your son? You know, just like, okay, we understand that there's criminals, people do bad things, they pay for their, you know, but at the same time, what is it that we can do to truly rehabilitate and truly show empathy towards their struggle?
Especially first-time offenders, because I think what
Yeah.
happens is, if we have the understanding, the conversation we're having right now, we're understanding the why that they did it.
Yeah,
and maybe they
it can
do
help a lot
It
with
can.
saving sometimes, you know, those people. But when you throw them, it's like if I throw any or small little rabbit into a hole with a bunch of tigers and lions, they're going to get eaten alive. And then probably the rabbit will start thinking he's a lion and a tiger. And before you know it, that rabbit will start to change that soft bunny-like exterior and become hardened and, you know, villainous and even crass, because it's about survival.
It is.
And
And if you were to look at the first-time offender and say, you know what, you did this out of a necessity, how about instead of sending you to jail or prison, we'll send you to get your GED, or we'll send you to
What can
vocational
we
training.
pour into what can actually be used in a positive reinforcement, and not just always, you know, the punishment system in this country, I think, is absurd. That's a whole. I went to school for political science at Seton Hall University, and I'm really passionate about. And it's funny, even the film that's coming out, 88, is a political thriller about some of these, various issues that we need to talk about, I think, and address.
We do. In particular, I love how you mentioned From a Rabbit to a Lion. The directors, who I'm sure you know very well, Kuti and Chike, did a documentary called Kenji. And when they did it, they talked about the individual, the two shooters of this famous high school basketball player in Chicago.
Oh, I saw that.
One
that
just
was good.
One actually pulled the trigger. The other one was just with his friend, but he was more the scholarly student in high school.
Yeah.
And when they both got sentenced to the same crime, but the guy who actually pulled the trigger got out of jail and was able to live his life. But the guy who was just his friend, who was just happened to be there with his homie, he went to jail, but he became hardened. So he from that rabbit to the lion, and he got a vicious cycle, and he never was able to get out. He never got out.
Ooh, that's real, and that happens all too often, particularly here in America.
It does. So we're here to talk about your film 88, which I had the chance to watch, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I didn't know you're a political science major.
Yeah. I mean, I love just conversations like this. This is the most provocative and also thought-provoking conversations about politics, about change, about whatever's happening in the world socially. And 88 is something that made me think about, just how the system and the, super PACs and the kind of like I think things that are happening behind the scenes that we don't always know, whether it be white supremacy supporting a black candidate, and you think, oh, they're for the black community, but there's definitely some undertones and conspiracies that expose those lies and expose a lot of things. So 88 does a great job of like dealing with politics, but also dealing with motherhood, as my character, Maria Jackson. She's a mother of a young black boy, and she really fears with today's climate that, he may not be prepared for the world that's up against him, and that he may not make it home sometimes at night, and fighting to protect him. And that's one of the passionate things that attracted me to this script.
I'm actually seeing a through line throughout this entire conversation. The through line is family.
Oh, well, there you go.
We've been talking about family.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
All the way through to the through point line is this, with your character being a mother, right? And
gosh, I do play a lot of protective mothers.
I don't say you play a lot of protective mothers, so you
family.
do. For me, but family can mean universal things, right? Family is community, family is tribe, family is friends, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's how we started the conversation. Following you on Instagram and seeing your journey of friends who also can be family, which is tribe. And I was saying you seem to be very much the go-to, the family, the fun.
Thank
and
you.
then now we've landed the place that we are now, where we've kind of proven
that it is and it's a natural thing for me.
Yeah.
I'm super like black and African, and I think that tribal mentality, and maybe it's because my father's from the Caribbean, like West Indian people are different in that sense. Family, like you don't play with family, so I don't play when it comes to my family, and I literally will like cut somebody off if I feel like they have violated my family, and at the end of the day, like it's just maybe culturally, but also instinctively, it's the protective nature in me. Like I don't even know how to do it any other way, so it's just my personality.
I actually love that, and you've actually set me up for this question, which I never like asking my guests. I never like asking. So I try and do my best great conversations with my guests.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
I don't pre-plan anything.
This is
I have no questions
so not
written.
like written down. Like
no.
He's not even looking at notes, people.
This was just like
what?
My producer gave me your bio. I'm not even looking at it, right?
I'm
so this is
so amazed.
This is all that's here. So this is all just questions I'm asked. But I always avoid, and myself, I'm always like, Mike, do not ask why they chose this role. Do not ask. That's such a common question, right? And I feel like it's a safe question.
Okay.
But with you, now that I know, which I did not know, political science background, right? Is this what led you to the script? When you're reading the script, you was like, I get the chance to use actually my degree
in a different way.
In a different way.
Well, actually, it wasn't quite that way. It was honestly family and friendship again that brought me to this role, because Brandon Victor Dixon, who's a good friend, I've known him since I was on Broadway in Hairspray. He was in The Color Purple across the street from me when I was at the Neil Simon Theater, and then I got to work with him in Power. He played Tasha's, one of her boos, Terry Silver. So Brandon actually just called me one day, and again, this is how much I value my friends and their opinions on things. He was like, this is a great script. I'm producing it. a director, Eramose, of Nigerian background in the UK, from the UK, is directing it. We got, it's a small indie budget, so it wasn't about money. But I was like, okay, well, send it to me. I'll read it, because again, he's my friend, and I do value supporting the work of my friends. So the real reason, I didn't even know it was a political thriller. And then when I read it, I was like, oh, and then she gets to be this protective mom. And then we talk about, the issues of kind of the undertones of elections and white supremacy and how it's used in our politics without us even seeing it.
Yeah.
It's in our face, but not.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of hidden gems in this movie that people are going to be like, wait, what? Because 88 itself, the name of the movie, is going to blow your mind of why 88 is connected to so many things. But essentially, it was family and friendship, because I was like, I want to support Brandon in this lead role and as a producer, and I wanted to do it because I was passionate for all the things that he's also just done to support my career. So at the end of the day, I think I choose things not just because, obviously I have to love the material, but I also choose it because I want to work with family.
That's the best way. They always say when you're collecting art, especially when you start, they were saying you shouldn't always look at art just as an investment that you can return on.
Yes.
They said when you start, you should really start your collection for things you just love and enjoy.
I'm actually just starting my art journey. Maybe you can help me.
I will connect you with a good friend of mine, Deborah, who will connect you with
art.
that. Yeah, but she always talks to me about that. She says,
Really?
Mike, pick stuff that you love, and if it grows, it grows, but you are passionate, you love it, you see it, and once you start building, if you want to start building for an investor, then start getting pieces but when you start, find pieces that you just love and that you enjoy. And I think when it comes to film, you're making these choices that you just love, and then you may see the investment come to as well.
Yeah,
I love more about, if nothing else comes along, I love the ROI of your role and the character that you play. And I don't want to give too much of it away, audience, but you play a mortgage broker.
Yes.
And I was just...
That's another aspect to my character, Maria Jackson, which is also my middle name, by the way.
Oh, no way.
My middle name is Maria, which was my nana's name.
That's so dope.
It's funny. So I also took the role because I thought about family. I was like, oh, my Nana, may she rest in peace, from St. Croix. Her name was Maria, and this character Maria, and my middle name's Maria. Oh, we are already in there.
You need to create a hashtag with family in it. Either like my family,
that's so
Naturi's
funny.
family.
You've
hashtag
inspired me.
Yeah, I got you, homie. I'm here for it. But I love my audience knows this. A couple of weeks ago, audience, if you remember, we had Secretary Fudge, who was on she is the Secretary for HUD. And she and I were just talking about appraisals and mortgages and the complicated ways that Black and brown people have trouble getting that and what they're doing to rectify that.
That was another thing I loved about this character.
And that's what I love. You went straight there. I love that scene where you're talking about the slave revolt and the individual. I don't want to give too much of a away, audience, but what her character really does is takes a moment to stand up for something.
Yes.
Right? In that really moment when you have a seat at the table, what do you do with that?
Yes, and to stand up against the, I think, subtle discriminations that we as Black people, Black and brown people, are trying to purchase homes or start a business and needing an investment and needing someone to give you a chance.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating for Maria, the character that I play in 88. It's frustrating for her to see someone who deserves that chance not be able to get it. So when you see the movie, you'll see some of the things that we're dealing with in our very real communities right now, connected to banking, mortgages, all that. That process alone, and I've experienced it even in the position I'm in. When I first tried to buy my first condo, it was just like the hardest thing to do. It felt like I was climbing Mount Everest, and I was starring in a hit TV show and making very good money. But honestly, even like when you think you doing well, apparently I was like, okay, is this not enough? Is it ever enough?
Never enough.
So you just got to keep climbing, but I got it done. And the persistence that I have, because I'm extremely resilient, is just like, all right, cool. Y'all gonna try to play these games? we gonna go around it and figure it out. So
I love how you leaned into that, because sometimes you can look at it from a place of race, but there's also to race and class. Right? When it comes to both of that, particularly when trying to get a mortgage, the dynamics, you have the money to do it, but the race
Doesn't
still
matter.
prevents you from actually being able to make it happen. And then when it comes to race and class, when it comes to appraisals on the value of your home, because of race, we get valued less, we go to class, and then we can't sell for a higher equity position and stake in it, which is what HUD is actually working on. I can talk to you all day, but I do want to land the plane. I can't keep you.
Okay.
I love what this film does when it comes to Super PAC. We're about to go into election season. All the presidential candidates are about to start announcing. And during the presidential election season, that's when you see the money flow into politics.
Lots of money being pushed into these Super PACs.
And we haven't had the chance, at least I can speak probably very ignorantly, but I do watch a lot of movies. I haven't seen a movie that really explains the Super PAC system and Citizens United in a way that you guys have. And so what you don't know about me, I served on Obama's National Finance Committee. And so I was the youngest person to raise $1 million for any presidential candidate at the time. And so the money space is a space that I existed.
So you actually familiar.
So this spoke to me.
That's so dope.
And I always talk to the audience, my audience in particular, about...
How did you do that? You raised $1 million?
Yeah, in 1 year.
Can I bring you on to just the Naturi Naughton
you absolutely
project?
You absolutely can.
Support me.
I got you, homie. First, we're going to start with the hashtag, and then the next thing.
Because you've already set me up. Okay, family hashtag.
And then
we're
we
going to raise some money.
Then
we're going to change our communities together.
Yeah, super easy
got
for me.
It. Love it.
Done. Check.
But that's amazing. Congrats.
Thank you so much. And so I always talk about how the Supreme Court, when they passed along that Citizens United decision, it really changed our democracy forever in a way that we can't get back, because now democracy can be bought. And the way that you guys have laid it out, I think it would give the average person who doesn't have time to dive into Supreme Court opinions and laws.
Yes,
it would give that average
understand.
person who may not. And you guys would agree with the animation. I thought it was really great, because now I'm hoping that the audience will understand, because money is a system, that doesn't mean you can't overcome it. You just have to be more empowered with your vote as a collective.
Yes,
right? And so that's what I'm hoping that this movie will moderate.
And the director, Era Mose, does a great job of simplifying some of these kind of complex content or complex thoughts, and just making, like you said, with the animation. I think the film does a great job, and it took him 7 years to make. Completely independently, by the way. Like, we didn't do it with a studio. You didn't have like a bunch of, we had producers, but it was done independently, and that's not easy to do, especially in today's climate. But it's really interesting that you say that, because Super PACs and that whole process was something that even I didn't fully understand. And then by being in the movie and watching, I was like, okay, and this is how the money is funneled through, and the money is hidden in these different names. I was just like, yo, it's like Tasha and Ghost all over again.
No, it is. It's all true.
I said, this is really like a hustle.
It is. And that's why it's so interesting. They always look
amazed.
at the criminality of like Natasha and Ghost as like the real criminals, but the white collar criminals are doing the exact same thing. It's the exact
but we'll
same thing.
Go to jail for 25 years and they will just somehow.
And that's when race comes into play, right? And perceptions.
Oof.
And so I'm really glad you guys are unpacking
this.
I think I heard the word producers as I rap. Your friend was a producer.
Brandon Victor Dixon. He called me
to
come in, and I was just happy to.
I'm curious as we think about next, right? In the sense of, I actually think like independent filmmakers are really creating new, diverse content that isn't the same. What type of like movies and roles are you looking for right now to do? Because I feel like the independent space is the route.
It is the route, and I want to get more into producing as well. I actually executive produced a film with Kirk Franklin for Lifetime.
I love Kirk.
It was a wonderful holiday movie that came out just this Christmas, the night before Christmas.
Yeah.
So Kirk Franklin, it was great. Myself, Luke James starred in it. Kirk Franklin, and just learning about producing and executive producing and all that whole thing for me, and directing is teaching me like, okay, be selective, be passionate, and go for it. Take risk. And the stuff that I want to do are stories that particularly connect to communities of color, whether it be a biopic. I love true stories. So I'm like a sucker for true stories. I love biopics. My first movie ever was a biopic. I played Little Kim in Notorious. So I love stuff like that. And I am drawn to a lot of musical connected films. So even if it was an indie that I could produce and potentially star in,
Yeah.
I would love to incorporate music.
I love it.
I like old school music though.
I love it.
I'm like old.
Yeah.
I'm
I
like
love
an
it.
old lady.
I love it.
So like the old head, but like the cool old head.
Yep.
Let's do those.
I love a good Phyllis Hyman movie.
Huh?
A good
Yeah,
Phyllis
I love-
Hyman.
yes.
Yeah.
What you know about Phyllis?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
so funny. But or like
Or just
people,
anyone.
just
Just
anyone.
anyone.
But
I get it, yeah.
I just am excited when I think about history.
Yeah.
Because the culture and everything that we, particularly as a Black woman, I want to talk about why I'm sitting here. Who came before me? I mean, Cicely Tyson. Who are the people? Patti LaBelle or Aretha. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for even Angela Bassett, who's killing it, and she's like looking younger every year.
Every year.
My gosh, I'm like, Miss Angela,
How?
what can I drink?
Yeah, literally.
But it's just amazing. So those are the stories I want to tell. It's how to connect our history, and it's Black History Month
Yeah.
right now, but how to connect it to our future.
I love that.
So we don't forget.
I think another solution as we create a lot of solutions here today on this
Oh yeah,
conversation.
we've done a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna help me raise $1 million for my family project.
Exactly.
Yes.
The one solution I think just came to me just now is if we can get more individuals like you who have the celebrity and the star power to become producers, to empower like these new Black
Up-and-coming
content
voices.
creators and writers,
Yes.
pair it together and then go get the films done.
This is
Both
so
have to
right.
be a symbiotic relationship.
I agree. And you have to empower them just as much as they can empower you.
As a producer.
Because that's really what it's all about. I want to give young voices the same opportunity that I'm sitting here because someone gave me a chance too.
I love it. Audience, what an amazing conversation we've had. Naturi, thank you so much for
Thank
talking about the
you.
Mike
This
Muse Show
was
for
so
the second
much
time.
fun.
Come back anytime,
and it's
my
so
friend.
much better not on Zoom.
And not on Zoom.
Oh my gosh.
Right,
Like,
so much better.
I will never forget this.
You can't. How can people see 88?
Oh, they can go to the theaters February 17th. It actually will be out, limited release. So 88 is available in theaters, but also to stream. And then we'll be announcing the streaming like a week after it airs. After it comes out. So just go support, find your local theater. And also you can follow at 88 the movie on Instagram. You can follow me at Naturi for Real, Naturi, the number 4, and then Real. Just keep your eyes and ears open because you don't want to miss this one. It's a really special film.
This is a good one, audience. Go check it out.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And say goodbye to my co-host. Goodbye, my friend in there.
Goodbye. We had fun. It
Until
was
next
great.
time. Peace.